All right. Call to order the meeting of the Salem School Committee for March 3rd, 2025 at 7 p.m. This meeting is taking place in person, 29 Highland Avenue, room 227. You can also join via Zoom using the link posted in the meeting agenda. I believe we have one member participating remotely. Okay. So all votes will be by roll call vote. First item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Seconded.
Motion made by Member Miranda, seconded by Member Campbell. Roll call vote. Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Cruz?
Yes.
Member Hoffman?
Yes.
Member Manning?
Yes.
Member Miranda?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Public comment. The Salem School Committee would like to hear from the public on issues that affect the school district and are within the scope of the committee's responsibilities. Spanish interpretation is available for anyone who needs it. The members of the school committee would like to remind the public that Salem Public School students regularly attend school committee meetings. We encourage all meeting participants to model respectful and productive public discourse for our young learners. Any public comment in the room? Any public comment online? All right. Our next item is approval of the consent agenda. These are the minutes of the regular school committee meeting of February 24th and the warrants of February 27th.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Motion made by Member Campbell, seconded by Member Miranda. Roll call vote. Member Cruz.
Yes.
Member Hoffman.
Yes.
Member Manning.
Yes.
Member Miranda.
Yes.
Member Campbell.
Yes.
And myself, yes. Student representatives report.
Today, we had our monthly meeting with Dr. Zeich in school, and this is one of the first times he had a lot of people from New Liberty show up. We had 2 more people from New Liberty show up, and the big question we talked about was, what is most important to you about a new high school space? And I think this was really the driving factor of our conversation today. A lot of things came up. What was advocated for a lot was a softball or baseball field, because right now people who play baseball have to walk to the Gallows Hill Park, and the people who play softball have to walk to Mack Park. And those are the places where they practice, which are a far walk. The topic about an environmentally friendly school and the construction process came up. We were talking about bigger open spaces with more sunlight to come in. We're talking about how right now in the school, it's hard because a lot of the rooms don't have a lot of sunlight, and people talked about how it looks like a prison. People were bringing up how they wanted to see more representation for traditional art, like painting and drawing and photography spaces. They wanted to see more representation for that. I think that was a big extent of what we talked about. We talked about...
What about our special guest?
Oh, yes, the mayor. We had the mayor show up, our special guest. He came to visit. But we did talk about, we had a talk about what would work best for everyone in terms of meeting weekly. So we moved instead to having a almost mandatory Monday meeting. We moved to, if you can come Monday, please try to be there, because some people have academic work they might need or teacher help. So it's more relaxed on Mondays now. But I think that was a big extent to what we talked about.
Yeah, just the other thing, if I could just jump in, I really commend this group of our young people who we try to have a change project, and what we started on was our change project, which is this idea of what steps can we take to better support newcomers, multilingual learners, and special education students, and ensure that they have equitable access to programs, classes, and opportunities that Salem Public School offers. There was a concern that Salem High, students praised that Salem High offers so much to so many kids, but that not all students take advantage of those opportunities because we don't always provide them the supports or the guidance, particularly newcomers, English language, multilingual learners, and special education students. And we shared some data today about that we have higher percentage of dropouts, higher percentage of students not graduating in 4 years, who fit those profile of students. And so that's going to be the work that we try to do, is try to figure out what systems and structures we can put in so that more students a more diverse group of students can take advantage of those opportunities. And I do, because a lot of times people just want to focus on making the bathrooms cleaner, or they want to focus on food, which is important. I'm not saying that's not important, but that they were focused on that question, I think speaks very highly of the group, the students we have.
Yeah, we broke out into groups to talk about, the question was, what steps can we take to better support newcomers, multilingual learners, and special education students to ensure that they have equitable access to programs, classes, and opportunities that Salem Public Schools offers. And we talked a lot about how we could have more translators in classes and have just a lot of different changes to English learners and how they learn throughout. And I think we're going to talk about it like more on the coming Mondays, next month meeting. But it's the big project we have, is just making Salem High School a lot more equitable for everyone.
Eric, do you want to?
Yeah, I just want to say that I was really grateful for the opportunity to attend the meeting, and some fantastic feedback by some really thoughtful students. So I was grateful for that. There were a lot of great questions, especially around the new high school. Great feedback that I think the superintendent reflected already, and that you reported out on, Mark. But it was the highlight of my day, and I hope to be able to attend future meetings for sure.
You did get some questions about potholes and.
There was some feedback about Halloween traffic and potholes, but mostly it was good to hear. And I think for a future meeting, the design team is coming for the high school project, so it'll be good for them to hear that directly as well. All right. Our next item on our agenda is the superintendent's report.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Just a couple things before we get into the topics for tonight. We have a communications update that I think we'll start with in a moment, but just a couple things. One is I do want to note that there's a big basketball game Tuesday night at Salem High School against Hanover, and moving on to the Sweet 16, the boys team. So I hope people will come out for it at 7 o'clock in the field house and to root on the witches. I do want to also acknowledge that I did share with the committee that we are working on rolling out a new grading system that the high school uses right now called Jump Rope. We're looking to do that. I want to thank Mark and Kim, who are working on that implementation. They met with the teacher advisory group this past week, and we're trying to get some more feedback. I think I shared some information with you in my update. But I do think it's not just about what's good for teachers, because I do think it's a better system for staff. But I also think it's much easier for students to read and for parents to follow as well. So I think it'll be a marked improvement to what we have, and I want to thank everybody who's been working on it. But that's, I think, a big step. We've listened to a lot of feedback that we've received from all constituents about how Aspen is really clunky for grading. So maybe at some point we'll have Mark and Kim share a little bit with the committee down the road once we vetted it with more people. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. I also wanted to give a quick update on the safety team, our crisis team work. I want to ask Ms. Manning, because Mayor, if you remember, you had asked me to include a school committee member, and so many jumped up, and they said they wanted to do it. And Mary Manning won the lottery and is serving on the committee, and also Ms. Berman, she wanted it so badly that she put it in the contract that she should be on this committee as well. Everybody wants to be on this committee.
Not even her designee, just
Yeah,
her.
just her, yeah. So anyway, but there's some really important work that's happening there, and I wanted to turn it over to you, Ms. Manning, just to share with the rest of them.
Sure, I have a brief report that I'm happy to share if you just name somebody else that wanted it besides me, and then I'll go ahead and talk. Yeah, mum was the word.
Yep.
So anyway, yeah, so I'm sort of half directing this to the public and then half directing it to the rest of the school committee, but I just want to give a little bit of an overview for parents and folks. I know there's a communication going home. Is it tomorrow or today?
I'm going to go home tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yep.
With some of the real details on this, but just overall, the safety committee has been meeting for a couple of years now. I've only joined it this year, and just to give a quick rundown, we meet, I believe, monthly, but the members on the team, there's either an assistant or a principal from all of the schools. the 3 resource officers, a representative from the fire department. There's someone there from the Charter Academy, Z, the head of buildings and grounds. Then the assistant director of special ed, director of nurses and health. Steve and Kate are there. Laura Assad is there. The executive director for student supports. Then we have representatives from the YMCA, from LEAP, and from the Boys and Girls Club, which are our 3 after-school partners. And we also have the director of out-of-school programs, who runs all of those, oversees those, plus programs on vacations and summer, etc. Ann Berman, as Steve said. There's someone there from food services. There's someone there from transportation. And then the director of communications is there. And then we've also had the benefit of working with a safety consultant, Dave Corbin, who has a company called Dynamic Security Strategies. He's a Salem parent, but he's also been working, I think, for a couple of years now with this committee. 3 things I want to touch on. The first 2 very briefly. One is just the issues of vestibules that I know that Dr. Zreik has mentioned before, the Horace Mann and the high school having the vestibules, and all the other schools, having the doors, and maybe someday have more of a vestibule design. But for now, what the work that's taken place, besides the physical work and making sure that the connections with the doors are there, and all the physical pieces are in place, now that the people that would be potentially answering, responding to the bells or the doors, whatever, have now been given scripts. There are 2 different scripts. One has been written for schools with the vestibules, and then a second for all the rest of the schools, so that everybody that would be potentially be somebody normally responding to the bell or the knock or whatever, has received some training on what to do, where to be, how to, where to answer from, etc. So that's really, pretty much in place now. And then the other issue is, just very quickly, I think there's at some point this year that we still had some doors that could be locked, but that could be locked with a safe lock, but hadn't been installed yet. And over February vacation, I believe all of those installations were completed. I think there are a few doors that cannot have that, but all of the classroom office types of doors certainly can, and they've all been installed. So I want to spend just a few minutes talking about the major point here, which is a new initiative that we're about to roll out. And it comes out of the work of the Sandy Hook Promise Group. And the initiative's called Say Something. It's an anonymous reporting system. And the committee has been exploring it since very early last fall. And a lot of the district folks have been putting quite a bit of time in it, working on this and really getting into the details of it. And the decision has been made to adopt this. And part of that is it's meeting parents and some students' questions about what kind of programs do we have that we can have anonymous reporting of concerns, of the safety of either another student, someone they know, or just random something that they've heard, a threat, something about themselves, whatever. So this seems to be right up there in the systems that are out there that are designed for this. And I just want to take a couple of minutes to go over it. Parents will be receiving this, or guardians, caretakers, whatever. But the general public, I just want to make sure gets a little bit of it too. There's no cost for this, and we're adopting the program. And the way it works is that a button is going to be installed on all of the Chromebooks, and grades that are accessed for grades 4 to 12, and 4 to 8 don't take the Chromebooks home. I know we've tried that for a couple of years, at least at the middle school, but I believe they're all pulled back in now. So you have a class set in a room. Students' work is on there. They can get to their work, but it's not their Chromebook. So folks that are nervous, even though there is an anonymity to it, and that is absolute part of the program, if you're nervous about that, it can't be traced back to it's your child's Chromebook. it's a random Chromebook that somebody may have had for that class period and somebody else has it the next. So really is not able to be traced back to a student. But on each Chromebook, there's a say something button, and also there's a number on the Salem Public Schools websites. I believe there's a button there too. I'm not positive of that, but I know that on both the websites and on the information parents will receive, there's a phone number. So a student or a parent or a guardian or whoever that has a concern about an event they heard may be about to happen, or a student they feel may about to do something, or a student they feel may be unsafe to themselves. Any type of concern like that, you can either make a phone call or hit a say something button and anonymously report that information. And that kicks into 2 or 3 different scenarios or steps that are taken. All of those, the button or the phone, go to a screening center, basically. If the people at the screening center determine it's a life-threatening situation, then that information immediately gets relayed to 911, then to the district. So if it was something that came through from a Salem Chromebook, the screening center gets it, they determine someone's in a life-threatening situation, they will call the Salem police first, and then they'll call the district of the school department. If it's a non-life-threatening, then the call will go to the school first. And if needed, then to the district. And the if needed is usually going to be in a case of if the school can't be contacted. There are all kinds of school teams, district teams, leadership teams already in place, ready to roll out, that depending on who needs the call, who gets the call, whether it's a daytime, a nighttime, a weekend, a weekday, school time, not school time, all the protocols are in place and ready to be rolled out as soon as we start this. Students are going to be trained, I believe it's starting Monday. Between March 10th and April 4th, it's the responsibility for each team to make, each school to make sure that students have gotten the training. Different trainings for 4 through 5, and then 6 through 12. There's a video involved, and there's some discussion involved. Before the students are getting the training, obviously the teachers, some of the teachers have gotten training, the school-based teams, each school has a team, they've already been getting the training. So the training is sort of rippling out among staff and then down to students. The video is about 20 to 25 minutes for the kids, a little bit longer for the secondary one, and then the follow-up discussion. Basically, you're submitting a tip, and it's to prevent things, violent things, weapon instances, self-harm remarks, or not to prevent the remark, but to prevent the self-harm. So it's one of the most recognized as being effective systems that folks have come up with to try to get a handle on things that are happening that kids hear about or parents hear about or caretakers hear about and don't know then where to turn or what to turn because they hesitate to get involved or they don't want their student in danger or whatever. This system is based on complete anonymity. There is, according to the folks who run it, a little bit of a startup time where kids over-report or they make a joke out of it, something that kind of, they have to try it, test it, and then that wears off. They say all of their data shows that really disappears and just goes right down to students learn that you really do use it seriously. And the best thing I think I can end with as an example of that is the most recent incident where there were the 2 high school girls that were planning some pretty serious violence at their school. That was thwarted through this Sandy Hook program. Somebody tipped off that program, and they reacted and put everything in place, and they stopped it. So that's where we are. I'll be glad to give an update in the spring or whatever as to how it's going, but it's rolling out within the next few days. So and you should be getting a mailing sometime this week. I don't know if it's an email or mailing, but information.
Parents will get a parent square
Good,
tomorrow.
okay. All right, that's it.
Thank you, Member Manning. Any questions? Or?
Just one quick thing to add. The training will start, the window opens next Monday. And I just want to point out, the reason we're adopting this is not just some, this was recommended by the Attorney General's office as part
Oh,
of a
that's right.
comprehensive
That's right.
response to school safety. And Sandy Hook Promise in particular was recommended as a tool. And our safety consultant, Dave Corbin, who Mary mentioned, he suggested that this was something lacking in our sort of toolkit around protecting our schools, protecting staff and students. So we're looking forward to seeing how this plays out. We do think it's another layer of protection to ensure the safety of everyone in the Salem Public Schools. All right. So moving on, I'm going to ask Mr. O'Donnell to come up to give a brief communications update. We wanted to brief you on the work that he's been doing, and then what we see as the next level of work in the areas of public relations and communications. So if we can put up that presentation, that would be great.
All right. Hi, everyone. So just a few things I've been working on. There we go. I'd love to be able to show you the website, but we have to settle for my slideshow here. This is a screenshot of our college and career page on the website. It's cleaned up from last year. There's a lot of old information on it. Two things I want everybody to focus on this page. Two pages I've been working on: the scholarships page and the early college page. So I got with Megan Souza and Dr. Alex Kirby and Anna Gratero to create this scholarships page, where at the top of the page you've got our scholarships booklet, which has, I think, 54 scholarships in it. But we also get in Naviance. Anna set up a Naviance account for me. We also get a bunch of scholarships through Naviance. And so I created, on the right side of the screen there, I created a listing of all the scholarships, national, local, regional, that our students should be applying for. And they're designated according to deadline date. There's a lot, let me tell you, as a father of two sons, one graduated from college, one a junior in college, there's a lot of free money out there. And we're trying to get our seniors to notice these scholarships, to take advantage. I've been sharing on social media. Every time there's a deadline of a cluster of scholarships. Mark, I know that when you get into school tomorrow, you're going to tell all your colleagues and friends about this wonderful scholarships page we have, and the applications are going to be flying in. So I'm very excited for you to do that tomorrow. You're going to help me.
Yes.
Appreciate it. So we have on this, in the booklet, there's 54 scholarships. We've also got on the right-hand side, we have 47 additional scholarships that we want seniors to take advantage of. And they're available in all 3 languages, which is very important. Great. Today I posted, we've got some March deadlines coming up, so I shared it on all our social channels. So hopefully the applications will be rolling in. Another part of this page is the early college page, which had a lot of old information on it. So with Dr. Alex Kirby's help, we updated this page, and it's a lot more simple. There we go. There's a lot more to this page, but basically it's what is early college. We've got an application, quick application, takes a few minutes to fill out, and our partnerships with Salem State and North Shore Community College, in which students can enroll and enter college as a sophomore and even a junior. I know some folks that earn their associate's degrees, by the time they graduated high school. It's an incredible opportunity. My youngest entered college as a sophomore. but it's still going to take 4 years, unfortunately. But huge opportunities, a lot of savings here, especially with free community college. So those pages are raring to go, and hopefully we're going to get a lot more traffic. A fun project I've been working on, and Mary, you were kind of the impetus for this when I spoke here last year. I think we have a treasure trove of prominent alumni out there. And as you can see here, I made these banners, 3 of which are currently on the high school site. At the top there is Nate Bertoni, the 2012 graduate. He's an actor, producer, director, writer, author. Has done amazing things. So when you navigate to the Fine and Performing Arts pages on the high school site, you'll see Nate's banner at the top of the page. The paragraph is what he took away from Salem Public Schools. So I want students to see the possibilities. I've got a whole list of alumni that I'm going to hit up. I accosted John Keenan after a Salem Partnership meeting and said, "Hey, I've got this project. I just realized you're an alum. Would love you to take part." And he was very enthusiastic about it, and his office really helped me. At the top there is Elsa Bell Rincon, an immigration lawyer, huge advocate for immigration rights. Cynthia Nina Soto, great realtor in town who teaches basics of real estate for free at the high school. She's made an amazing career for herself. And down at the bottom is Josh. What's Josh's last name? Josh Bent. Josh is a New Liberty grad. Graduated in 2018, and he's part of our IT staff. And you don't have to be famous. You don't have to be wealthy. I just think I recognize a good alumni when I see it. And of course, I run it by Steve, and he, 9 times out of 10, he'll give me the okay. And so what I'm going to do with these is they're going to be the first thing you see on the website. They're going to be a rotating banner, because I just want our students to see the possibilities and what's out there. It's been really fun. And if anybody has any suggestions, I am wide open to I have a good list, but I know there's more out there that I don't know about. So, and member Cruz, you are on my list. So you'll be expecting an email from me. Finally, what have I been working on? Continuing storytelling, focusing on our academic stories that align with the strategic plan. I love telling the great stories of this school. There's so many that I cannot keep up. I'm continuing to update and enhance the website. The CTE pages need a good, thorough upgrade. Less verbiage, more video. So one of the things I want to do with the CTE pages are get student testimonials about what they learn and how great our CTE programs are. Tomorrow I'm meeting with Dr. Kirby about creating a web page for our tutoring center, and hopefully drawing students to, drawing a little more traffic to the tutoring center. Crisis communications, it's part of the job. It's been a relatively tame year. Thank you.
Say that.
Thank you. Well, compared to my first 3 days last year.
Right.
But it's part and parcel of the territory. I love doing the weekly newsletter, even when I get submissions at 3 o'clock on Fridays. Our newsletter, we get around 3,000 views, which is fantastic. Love doing Facebook Live with Dr. Zreich every 2 weeks. We're going to start having more and more guests on our Facebook Live. Last week's Facebook Live drew, I think the English version had more than 800 views. The Spanish version had more than 600.
That's because there was other people than me speaking. We had Shauna
His words.
Earps was on it, and Leanne Smith, which was great.
So I'm excited to take it to another level with more and more guests. I'm very much enjoying representing the school district in the community through Salem 400 committee, the Salem Partnership, Salem Days in the fall. And I'm told I'm going to be going to Salem Rotary meetings in the very near future. So excited about that. I love being a part of this community and representing the school system. I've been the de facto communications person for the Salem Building Committee. They are moving very quickly, but it's been great. We're going to be putting out some more abbreviated messaging, probably starting this week, and continuing work on the Attendance Matters campaign. Always trying to setting out regular social posts on the importance of attendance, and letting people know that attendance opens doors. Future priorities. We're going to launch. I can't see. We're going to launch a donation page. We have probably about 3,500 followers on our LinkedIn pages. We have a LinkedIn school district page and a LinkedIn high school page. And it's a natural progression to seek donations from alumni. And we're also going to launch, by the end of the year, a quarterly alumni newsletter, hopefully with some alumni news. Similar, if you get, I get a magazine from my college. It won't be that elaborate, but about alumni news and who's doing what. So I'll be searching for story ideas for the newsletter. But it will also encompass the great things that are happening in the school district too. Project I'm working on, Portrait of a Graduate. We're going to be creating murals of great, beautiful photos of our students. Mark, this is something I could use your help on too. I need students for photos. But our Portrait of a Graduate will be, it's a listing of the skills that we want our students to have by the time they graduate. It's pretty cool. I've made some inroads with our Latin and Spanish-speaking media this year. I've developed a great contact at the newspaper El Planeta, and she's been sharing and tagging us in a lot of her posts on LinkedIn, which has been great. And we have a great friendship with Alberto Vasallo at El Mundo. He's the CEO and founder of El Mundo. They did their morning show here a month ago, and that I got thousands of views. So he's been a great friend. We were at WGBH last Thursday. Steve was on the TV show GBH Amplifies, hosted by Alberto, and that hasn't aired yet. But it's as soon as it does, it'll be on our website. But we've established a great relationship with Alberto. Teacher Appreciation Week is coming up May 5th through 9th. So very soon I'll be preparing for that, hitting up businesses to take care of our educators. Last year when Steve added that to my list, I'm like, all right, how am I going to do this? But it was a lot of fun. I got to know a lot of business people around town, and I'm anxious to hit them up again for free stuff and free coffee and free swag. So, and continuing to showcase the success around our middle school learning. There's great things happening in this building. So, as always, I'd love your suggestions and ideas. And at this stage, any questions, I am more than happy to answer.
I just have one. I appreciate the suggestion that I gave you, whatever you said, the idea or whatever, but I really didn't. What happened was you came out with the athletic page.
Yes.
And then I suggested maybe other fields. So now I didn't hear you saying anything about the athletic page, so I'm just curious, has that been updated? Or is
Oh, yes. It's
okay.
updated.
So that's an ongoing?
We had 3 this winter competing on NCAA teams.
Okay.
And we had, I think, 6 in the fall. And the spring, I have to do a bit of homework, which I'll probably do this week. But I believe we have 5 or 6 playing spring sports at NCAA schools.
Okay, so that's how it sort of has shaken out, that if you're if you're participating after high school?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
Sure. Anything else? All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
I'll just take the MSBA update right now. Since Beth Ann isn't here, I'll just share that since our last meeting where we looked at the ed plan and the space summary, we appreciated the feedback. We're going to obviously come back in the March 17th meeting with some changes and iterations. And what's happening now is we have a much bigger building than we would like to at this point based on the initial designs on the space summary. So tomorrow, I can't wait, after serving breakfast with the mayor tomorrow morning at Salem High, I'll be spending the morning talking to staff because we have to, we're lucky that on the building committee we have a couple architects who represent the interests of Salem and have had experience with designing. And we're going to be talking to staff about whether there's spaces that we maybe don't need or can be adjusted on the new building because every bit of square footage will cost additional dollars. And right now the number is much higher than what a typical building would be. And I understand when you ask educators what they need, they're going to tell you that they want it all. And they should. That's part of what we asked them to do. But now we have to call it back a little bit. So be spending the morning there because we need to make some adjustments. And you'll see those adjustments when we come back to the school committee in 2 weeks. And those need to be reflected in the ed plan. So that's an update. We did also have a building committee meeting on Thursday, I think it was last Thursday, right? This past Thursday, yep. Where we did begin to see some designs of the building. Those are going to continue to be iterated, and we're going to start being able to share those in the public. But of course, those meetings are always public, and the next one, I think, is in a couple weeks. We have our
March 20th.
March 20th, right, meeting. So those are just the updates. We're continuing to work on the different, it's getting more and more real, again, as each day goes by. And so we appreciate the input, and I look forward to talking to Salem High staff tomorrow about the initial designs. Elizabeth, I think I'll pass it to you on finance and operations report. I know you had some other updates. Oh, Mary had a...
Can I just follow up on?
Yep.
Because as you were talking about the building authority and stuff, and I realized that I really totally neglected to mention Lisa on the safety report, and she is an integral part, Lisa Golden, an integral part of doing everything that I talked about and keeping all the records and doing all the, organization of everything. And what reminded me is her main job is the liaison to the school building and all of that, and that the safety is like another whole area she's responsible for the district. So I didn't want to let that go without saying that. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. I have just two quick operations announcements. One, Superintendent, you previewed, which is this is National School Breakfast Week. So I hope, Mark, you may have enjoyed a donut this morning at the high school, which was a special breakfast this morning. We're menuing fan favorites at the middle and high schools this month. Tomorrow it will be acai bowls, and we'll be hosting the mayor and the superintendent at Salem High School for National School Breakfast Week. At the elementary schools, we have organized a game that is loosely based on the board game Clue, and students will get different clues every day about a school breakfast item, and there'll be prizes at the end of the week. So the goal is to bring attention to our school breakfast program and increase participation, because we know breakfast is the most important meal of the day. So we hope that students are enjoying National School Breakfast Week. Although we're thinking a lot about breakfast this week, we also launched a dinner program at Collins Middle School today. And I'm pleased to say that we served 63 meals today, which is a very strong start for the first day of the program. So looking forward to serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner at Collins Middle School going forward. We've learned a lot from the dinner program at the high school, and so we'll be serving dinner here at Collins Middle School. That is my operations report. I do have a finance item on the agenda this evening with the mysteriously named memo FY25, which was in your packet. So I am bringing to you a package of budget transfers. The total requested this evening for transfer is $262,035.87. This set of transfers is requested earlier in the year as part of our early attempts to make sure that FY25, our current fiscal year, ends in balance. So what we have done in the business office is we have met with principals and department heads to forecast the funds they will need for the rest of the year. And we have then proposed to leave them those funds so they can do the programming that we want to do with students, and that we would take, out of the remainder of funds, we would take half of what's available as of today. So we're giving them all that they know they need to get to the end of the year, and then with what's left, we're proposing to take half of those funds, which would leave them a cushion for unanticipated expenses, because it is only March and there may be things that come up. We're proposing to repurpose the half that we would take back to budget lines that we know are over. So in this evening's transfers, it includes a number of transfers for electricity. It includes transfers to support some stipends, telephone costs, etc. These are spelled out for you in the memo. We have had this conversation with every school and department. There are 3 cost centers that we're still working with that will be back to you on March 17th with an update on what, if any, funds will be able to transfer out of their accounts. So in every instance where a school or a department can do their programming and will end the year, as it looks today, with funds available, we're proposing to take half of those funds. And we're still in conversations with a couple of schools and departments while we do that forecasting. So these are offered for your consideration, even though not all of the transfers are above $15,000, but because as a set, it is a significant amount. And it is part of our strategy to end the year in balance while still fulfilling all of our programmatic obligations. So I'll stop there. If you have any questions, I'm happy to take them.
Any questions? Can I ask about the purchase of district staging for events? What
Yes.
is that?
We rent a stage for graduation and for other large events like
Convocation,
Convocation and when we've had district-wide PD. So we're proposing to buy the staging, which would be a one-time cost and then would save us in future years. We tend to spend $15,000 per rental, so we believe that this will save us money in the long run.
Thanks. Yeah, no other questions? Okay.
Thank you.
Well, the next item, I can't do my evaluation, so I'll turn it back over to you, Mayor. That's the next item under Superintendent's Report.
Yeah. Member Cruz, are you on?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes. And appreciate the opportunity to be able to be with all of you remotely. I apologize I can't be with you all. I'm feeling under the weather, and out of an abundance of caution, I don't want to spread whatever kid germs I've picked up. And so once again, we are here at the juncture in which we're evaluating the superintendent. I want to thank everybody, number one, for their patience with the fillable form. I know it took folks some time to get their evaluations in, but nonetheless, we do have them all, and I've submitted them for the record to Shirley and to the superintendent, so he has those now. And I was able to put together a composite for this particular evaluation year. And so I wanted to just begin by providing just an overall assessment of the composite and to go through a few of the standards and to highlight some comments from members of the committee that I saw in the evaluations that I think speak to our superintendent's strengths. But then additionally, those continued areas for growth. And then I'll just open it up to members of the committee for them to be able to provide any additional comments that they'd like to direct to the superintendent. And then by way of process, I would just name that once we complete this portion of the evaluation, we will then move to the next part, which is setting up goals for this particular year and the standards by which we would be evaluating the superintendent next year. So top of the line, on the composite, I just wanted to name that for the second year in a row, our superintendent has achieved something that I think is remarkable and certainly reflective of his leadership here within the district. Across the four standards by which we use the DESE rubric to evaluate the superintendent, members of the committee, in their thoughtful evaluations altogether, you were rated as exemplary across all four of the standards and overall in your leadership. So Dr. Zreich, as I go through each of these, I think you know it's a very high bar to reach a level of exemplary in these evaluations. But as we went through, I think collectively the evidence that you provided, and then obviously the last year that we've spent together, I think it was quite clear that members of the committee feel as though you're leading our organization in a very positive trajectory, and that we're really fortunate to have you serving here in Salem. So in the overall comments that I could draw from members of the committee on this 5-year journey that we've been on together, many of us express our gratitude. We appreciate your wisdom and expertise, your ability to be collaborative, not just with members of the school committee, but all of our union leaders, our district leadership team, our students, our families. And we think that the trajectory that we're on with respect to having a high standard for student achievement, ensuring that our students have social emotional well-being, all of that is only possible because of your style of leadership, which really does bring people in. And so those were kind of overall comments that I tried to synthesize from the various evaluations about you as a leader. And now I'll move us through some of the standards. So in the first standard of instructional leadership, here's just a couple of member comments that I think are reflective of how you achieved a rating of exemplary in this particular standard. Dr. Zreich's steadfast commitment to equitable student support is clear in the increase in student achievement that the Salem Public Schools has experienced in the 2024 assessment cycle, with double-digit gains at the high school level and gains at the elementary and middle school level as well. Another member in this standard wrote, the achievements of Salem Public Schools in the most recent accountability data speaks to the exemplary level of instructional leadership demonstrated by Dr. Zreich. Salem now has the #1 academically performing public school district across all of the Massachusetts gateway cities. Our enrollment has increased by 160 students over the last 4 years. And in our Commonwealth, less than 15% of all public schools met or exceeded their accountability targets, but here in Salem, 50% of them did so. Not one of our schools is now in the bottom 10% of schools statewide, and every one of them improved their accountability ranking compared to the state, and 2 of them were experienced double-digit increases. That's the Bates and Salem High School. And out of the nearly 1,700 public schools in Massachusetts, the state named 57 of them schools of recognition, and 2 of those schools of recognition are here in Salem. And so those were 2 comments that I thought were really reflective of your exemplary work as an instructional leader here in the district alongside your team, which I know you give all the credit to. And then in terms of areas of growth, I think rather than reading individual comments, I synthesized these in this area as the majority of committee members that did point out areas of growth for you really focused on equity and ensuring that we continue to make progress towards having high standards, that we're providing high quality guidance to our students as they choose post-secondary opportunities, and that we continue to push for innovation. As I move to the second standard, which is management and operations, this particular comment stood out to me, and it came from one member who said, Dr. Zreich has effectively managed district operations, safety, human resources, financial planning, ensuring a stable and efficient learning environment. His leadership has strengthened school safety, staff diversity, and resource allocation while navigating budget constraints and contractual obligations. Areas for continued focus, this is more in the area of growth, should include things like staff retention, refining our scheduling systems, and ensuring long-term financial stability. Moving to standard 3, family and community engagement. This particular comment certainly resonated with me and was very similar to ones that others had made. As a result of Dr. Reich's exemplary approach to family and community engagement, communication has moved from one of this district's most common complaints from Salem families to an area of strength and pride. Families frequently note his speed in responding, his dedication to resolving issues, and he has ensured that translation and interpretation as a department is appropriately staffed and funded. And this has developed structures and routines to provide these quick updates and opportunities for connection with the community and for sharing updates with the school committee as well. Another member also highlighted in this particular area a comment that I just I thought was really strong, which was, I just want to make sure I get this one right. I'm in the right standard. Yes, I am. Over the past year, Dr. Reich has committed himself to engaging student voices. He has taken the feedback on everything from high school grading system to lunch menus. As a result, Salem students know their superintendent and believe that their voices matter. I'm not sure that there is a higher compliment that I can give to a person leading our district. We heard that today as an example in our very meeting. So that testament of knowing our students as a superintendent is hard to do, especially in a gateway city that can be pretty complex. But Dr. Reich has made it a point to really focus on uplifting the voices of our students. And then I'll move us to the last standard, which is around professional culture. And so in this particular standard, I want to highlight a few comments. Dr. Reich, one member wrote, holds himself and those around him to high standards of professionalism and cultural responsiveness. He's excellent at building coalitions for decisions, ensuring that people feel connected to the process and that they have opportunities to share feedback and concerns. Another member wrote, Steve is an active participant at school committee policy subcommittee meetings on a regular basis, where his work is ongoing to provide policy level supports specifically to a wide range of issues within the standard. He provides input on areas in need of committee attention and then provides the backbone of implementation as strongly needed. So as I go through each of these standards, I think it's very clear just with this sampling of member comments that Dr. Reich, you've set a high bar as a leader. You're reflective, you're communicative, transparent, and collaborative, and you really do view all of us here in the district at every level as your colleagues, and you genuinely have treated folks with both respect and dignity. So, on my part, Dr. Reich, I want to wrap up by noting that I too feel these same sentiments and certainly am grateful to your leadership here in the district and more importantly, your thought partnership and your willingness to share your power with our broader community. So to that end, that concludes my summary of the composite. And later on in the agenda, I would recommend that we accept a score of exemplary overall for the superintendent's evaluation.
Thank you very much, Member Cruz. Any discussion, questions for the Vice Chair for? No? Right. Next item on our agenda, you finished with your report?
I'm done with my report,
Okay.
yeah.
Subcommittee reports. Any of the subcommittee chairs have any reports to make? Okay. We'll move to item 8, motions and resolutions. So our first item is the superintendent's evaluation.
Move to accept the evaluation and the rating of, was it exemplary?
I'll second.
All right, motion made by Member Campbell, seconded by Member Miranda. Roll call vote. Member Hoffman?
Yes.
Member Manning?
Yes.
Member Miranda?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Cruz?
Yes.
And myself, yes.
Mayor, can I,
Yeah.
do you mind if I just want to, I didn't know that would go that quickly, but I would just a couple of, I just want to say I'm humbled by the comments, and I don't feel like anybody, I don't deserve an exemplary, but I appreciate it, and I'm grateful to have the support. But like when you read off all the lists of all the things I do, I don't do any of that stuff. I mean, there's all kinds of people. My whole team is here, you know, executive team, and obviously, I think we have amazing educators in our school. All these improvements don't happen, you know, without the people at the school level, and I really do mean it. I've been in a lot of districts. The people in Salem work so hard on behalf of this city, and like we have just amazing educators. Because everybody's an educator in Salem, not just teachers, but everybody's an educator, and I feel very fortunate to have the opportunity to work alongside some incredibly talented and, most importantly, hardworking people who give a lot to the children of the cities. I also want to say that I love working with the students of Salem. I'm not just saying that, but this is what democracy is about. This is what public education is about. We have one of the most diverse systems. I was saying that to the students today that you'll find in the Commonwealth. And it's what makes us special. It's why I'm committed to public education. We take everybody who shows up at our door, and we're lucky to have the talent and our youth is our greatest asset and is what makes our city, a terrific place to be. And today, to hear the students talk, we asked them all about at the advisor group, what is it that they love most about the Salem Public Schools in the city of Salem? It's that we truly are emblematic of what this country looks like, and it's. This moment in time, it's important more than any to remember that we really are in America here in the Salem Public Schools. So I just want to call that out. And there's just a lot more work still to do. You know, there's a lot of unfinished business that we all have, and I think we have absolutely the right team of people, the right group of people. This is hard work, and but we're making really good progress because of the efforts of so many different people. And we could have had. I'm grateful for our union partners as well. We did not have any interrupted learning this year. We were focused on all the right things for kids, and so I appreciate the fact that there's so many people that are committed to doing what's right for our young people. And I do want to thank this committee because I chose to come to Salem. I thought when I accepted the job that there was a values alignment, and I have not been disappointed by that. We're lucky to have a school committee. Doesn't mean you agree with everything I do or you agree with one another, but at the end of the day, we have core values that are up on the walls there, and I do think that counts for a lot. And again, in this moment in time, those values mean more than they've ever meant before. So I'll stop there. Turn it back over to you, Mayor.
Thank you, Superintendent. Anything else? All right. Our next vote is on the budget transfers that have been proposed.
Move to approve the budget transfers as outlined by the Assistant Superintendent.
All right. Motion made by Member Campbell, seconded by Member Manning. Roll call vote. Member Manning.
Yep.
Member Miranda.
Yes.
Member Campbell.
Yes.
Member Cruz.
Yes.
Member Hoffman.
Yes.
And myself, yes. We have two policies for votes. Third reading of policy 5214.01, graduation requirements and competency determination.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Member Campbell, seconded by Member Miranda. Roll call vote. Member Miranda.
Yes.
Member Campbell.
Yes.
Member Cruz.
Yes.
Member Hoffman.
Yes.
Member Manning.
Yes.
And myself, yes. Policy 5215.01, Directory of Information on Students, second reading.
Move to approve. We're in a pattern.
Motion made by Member Campbell, seconded
I'll
by
second.
Member Miranda. Thank you. Roll call vote. Member Campbell.
Yes.
Member Cruz.
Yes.
Member Hoffman.
Yes.
Member Manning.
Yep.
Member Miranda.
Yes.
And myself, yes. Item 9, announcements. Any announcements from committee members?
Do we have an announcement on when that GBH thing is going to air?
Chris, you know when that is going to be on?
I thought it was going to be, I was told it was going to be today at noon. It's not up yet. Let me see what I can find out.
Good.
Thanks. I just want to share with committee members that the superintendent and I had a meeting with the city clerk and members of the Board of Registers of Voters to talk about the process of where possible, moving voting out of our schools, and where it's not possible, providing for a space in the schools that can be secured so the public is not able to get into the rest of the building on election day. So I think I'm optimistic that we're seeing some progress with the few schools that are polling places, and we're going to keep at that.
Thank you.
There's no further announcements.
Just one other thing. We had I thought, a very good meeting at Nagley on Friday. I want to thank Member Hoffman for inviting us, but it was a good conversation with students, not just from Salem Public Schools, but the mayor, you were there as well, and Ellen Wingard was there. We did hear, got a lot of good feedback about how we can best support our LGBTQ plus community in this moment in time. There was parents that were there as well, and a good, I thought, a good conversation about how schools can better support our students. We did have some teachers also who were there. The leaders of the GSA here at Collins were in attendance, and it was actually great to hear their perspective and what supports and what resources they need. They did ask for more financial resources to be able to run their programs, and so that reminds me I need to follow up with them. Yeah, so I think Salem's lucky to have Nagley in their backyard. It's a pretty special place, and so many of our young people feel so connected there. There was a huge turnout on a Friday afternoon of students all over young people all over the place, and I look forward to be invited back, and I think any school committee member is welcome to attend at any point to learn more about. Again, a community that definitely feels anxious and fearful at this moment in time. So thank you, Member Hoffman, for helping to facilitate that as well.
Is there another motion?
Move to adjourn. Just making sure there were no more announcements. I was making sure there were no more announcements.
I'll second.
Motion made by Member Campbell, seconded by Member Miranda. Member Cruz.
Yes.
Member Hoffman.
Yes.
Member Manning. Member Miranda.
Yes.
Member Campbell.
Yes.
And myself, yes. We're adjourned. Thank you all.